Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 2 of Roger Lee Quotes podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about anxiety and depression, something that I really like to talk about because I went through it. That was the reason why I actually am doing what I'm doing, is because I had to go through it and I had to figure out ways to, find, to try to heal myself. And the process wasn't easy, but I was able to get it done, and that's why I write quotes and I do motivational and inspirational videos, so that I can teach others or hopefully guide them to how I was able to get through those dark stages of my life. And one of the things that I noticed and realized as I was going through those stages of anxiety and depression was that I always felt like I was alone. And, the topic today is, don't think or feel that you are alone. Because, today I actually I was very curious to see, how many people are really affected by anxiety and depression. Because when I was going through it, I was in my own dark world. So I didn't really want to know these kind of statistics. But it's very, very interesting because, it's about 40 million people in the United States are affected by some sort of anxiety disorder, which is like 19% of the population in the United States. And for depression, I mean, I just was reading that it was like 280 million people are depressed in the world. So if you just look at those numbers and you're at home right now and you have anxiety or depression and you feel like, why is this happening to me? Am I the only one? Well, obviously you're not the only one, but sometimes you do feel that way because, you push yourself aside and the more anxiety that you have and the more depressed you are, the more smaller you feel. And that's what I felt. I felt like I was always in this little corner, and it was in this dark corner. And even though thank goodness I have a very loving family, even though I had those people surrounding me, I still felt like I was alone. It still felt like I was unloved. But it wasn't because they weren't loving me. It was just the way my mind was. Because anxiety, what it does is that it fools you. It tricks your mind, and your mind starts to take control, especially when you start having all those negative thoughts, and you're thinking about it all day, and all through to the evening before you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, the same thoughts appear all over again. And, and I had to figure out a way how to stop that. That was during the time when I decided I wanted to start changing my life, and I wanted to start healing myself. But during the time when I was going through that darkness, I really did feel like I was like the only one in the planet that was going through this. And there's different levels of anxiety, right? For me, the majority of it came from my concussion, right? When I started getting symptoms, and I started feeling different things around my body that I never felt before. So to me, I thought they were permanent. And I kept creating these scenarios that, I'm never going to heal, that these symptoms are going to last forever. And every time I hurt myself or anytime there was something new that I never experienced, because I was having these sensations, my spine was very sensitive, right? So, and the nerves. And every time I would hurt myself, I would get like numbness, like in the spots that I never felt numb before, right? Or tingling sensations. They were like all over my body. So that got me very anxious. And that, like, I started planting all these seeds, dark seeds. And these seeds would just grow into these dark plants, these dark trees. And I was creating this environment for me that, that when I look back at it, it's like, I would never want to go back there. And it's tough because, every day it was getting worse and worse, right? So if you're going through anxiety or you have depression and you feel that you are just somebody that no one can help you, that you're gonna have this for the rest of your life. Because I was thinking of that too. I was thinking that, hey, I'm probably going to be living like this for the rest of my life. I'm probably going to be unhappy for the rest of my life. I'm probably never going to see my family happy or smile again with me around. As long as I'm around, they're not going to smile, right? So, but I was wrong. I was completely wrong. My mind was telling me all these negative things, and I started believing in everything that my mind was telling me. Telling me that my life was that I was worthless, that I had no future ahead of me, that every day is just going to be even darker than it was yesterday, and it's so hard to fight through that because you are listening to your mind and you're agreeing to whatever it tells you. And then you start to worry a little bit more each and every single day. And that's when you start creating that dark cloud in front of you, and you start creating that path, which is supposed to be smooth, hopefully, but it becomes muddy, and every time you take a step, it feels like you're just moving really, really, really slow. And it feels like there's something chained around your ankle and you can't move forward or you can't rise because you just feel that darkness within you, right? So, I had to basically tell myself, I can't live like this anymore. I do not like the feeling of waking up in the morning and being anxious. Like when I woke up in the morning, my anxiety started right away. And it lasted like pretty much for the whole entire day, right? Because I was like pacing back and forth in my hallway barefooted. I was yelling at the top of my lungs. I had all these rage fits, and I was cursing, and this was with my family around, my kids, listening to me yell at the top of my lungs, watching me curled up in a little ball outside, crying my eyes out. And it got to a point where I didn't care anymore. I really didn't care what people thought. But before, when it first started, I mean, if you're going through it right now, you're probably just telling yourself, I don't want people to know about what I have. I'm going to be embarrassed to let them know that I have anxiety or that I am depressed, because you feel a little bit embarrassed, right? You don't want them to start telling people about how you're doing. Right? So then you kind of hide away, and that's what I did. I just stopped going out. I didn't want to see my other family, my friends, and because I honestly was embarrassed, and I was ashamed of myself. And I'm telling you that it's okay to feel that way, because that's what anxiety and depression is going to create. It's going to make you feel that you're not this person that you used to be, and you're just hoping that one day that it's just a little chapter or not, or something that's happening in your life that you can hopefully one day come out of, right? Don't ever tell yourself that you're not going to be able to get out of this, because I was telling that myself before until I started healing myself. And then every single day when I started working on myself, I started to see a little bit more light. I think that's the big difference here, is that you need to start changing what you do on a daily basis, like right when you wake up. Because when you have anxiety and depression, when you wake up, the routine that you're going to create for yourself is probably going to be the exact same thing every single day. So I had to basically change that. And I said, instead of waking up in the morning and worrying or telling myself that today is going to be a really bad day, I said, why don't I wake up and tell myself that, today might be a great day. Maybe I can do something today to make my day better, right? And those were the little steps that I had to take. And then, as I was healing, I started to feel more appreciative about myself. And I started to say, hey, you know what? I shouldn't be ashamed anymore. I'm going through a process right now, and I'm trying to heal. So I shouldn't be embarrassed about this, because I'm doing whatever I can so that I could find my joy and happiness again. And if people can see that, they can see that you are trying, right? Then they know that, you shouldn't be embarrassed. You should be proud of yourself by, that you're finding the strength within you so that you can come out of this darkness, right? So remember, if you're going through it right now, if you have anxiety or depression, don't ever feel that you're alone. There are millions of people out there that are going through a very dark time as well. And, and we're all trying to find a way, to find our joy and happiness again. So just remember to focus on yourself. And always try to think positive. Try to get a little bit of that positive energy, into your mindset so that you could start retraining the way you think. Okay, because when you start retraining the way you think, you can start thinking a little bit more positive each and every single day, and you're going to see those little steps become, bigger steps, and then, like I say, those bigger steps are going to become leaps. And eventually you're going to find your way through this darkness. So I'm going to be talking a lot more about anxiety and depression. I probably will start doing it as a series. So this would be like part one of anxiety and depression. But I really wanted to dig into, just letting you know that you don't have to feel that you're alone. There are people out there that are willing to help you. Like for me, for example, if you ever need to speak to someone about your anxiety and depression, you can always message me on my Facebook page. I speak to a lot of my followers about what they're going through, and I try to help them, to get through a very dark stage in their life, and to make them realize that you do have an opportunity every single day to make a change in your life. So hopefully this podcast helps. I look forward to doing episode 3. And remember, your mind matters. Take care. Bye-bye.